Thank you for joining us for another episode of Talk for 10. Today we are out with Dwayne Lee. He is a community leader. He not only has a photography shop in Arlington, but he does great trips every year, and he's with Rotary. So Dwayne, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, about 50 years ago, literally this year, I started the photography business when my wife was pregnant with our first child.
Okay.
And just grew from there. And in 1998, I ended up opening up my first full-time studio while I was still working at the post office.
Wow.
And it just kept growing from there. And here we are today, celebrating our 50th year of doing weddings, family portraits, children, headshots, you name it, we'll do it.
I know, because you did our wedding.
Yep.
We were really thankful for you. You guys did a great job, you and your daughter. So not only just Rotary, what other clubs are you involved in Arlington?
Oh, the Veterans Business Council is one that the Chamber. When they started the Veterans Business Council at the Chamber, I'm not a veteran, and I was really anxious. I wanted to be a part of that particular council, but there was no place for a non-veteran. And Jack Webb, who was the chairman at the time, came up with a subcategory called the Allies.
Okay.
And that's how I got in, because I'm an Air Force brat.
Right.
And that's how I got in with that. So I'm chairman of the Allies, which we do anything we can to support the veterans part of the Veterans Business Council.
And you're really involved with veterans things, and so much. You have a lot of history, and isn't there a trip that you do every year? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Every year I take small groups over to Normandy to tour the D-Day beaches. It's a 7-day fully immersive trip, all-inclusive type thing, which it started basically because I'd always had, that was on my bucket list to always go over there, but I never could find the time or the energy. And my dad was in the Air Force during World War II, Army Air Corps technically, during World War II, flew C-47s. And he's my inspiration for having the interest in D-Day, in World War II and that type of stuff. And so in 2016, I had an opportunity to go over to Normandy. Some friends of mine had a business that did tours, and they created the D-Day Tour strictly for me, but they invited other people to come, obviously.
Wow. Okay.
Well, after I got back, I had so many photographs that we had taken while over there. And since they don't teach World War II or D-Day specifically in history in class at school, I decided to start giving a program to civic groups, organizations, anybody that would like to hear more about D-Day. Because the history was dying quickly. In fact, all the soldiers back then were in their late 80s, early 90s, and they were starting to die off pretty rapidly. So it was my desire to keep the history of D-Day alive. So I created this, first off, one program on D-Day and started offering it to all these community organizations. And the third group I spoke with, two couples came up to me afterwards and says, "We want to go on a trip just like that. Can you make that happen?" Well, I didn't think it was going to happen because there wasn't anybody else on that trip with us. They didn't have enough people and sign up for the trip, and I just knew they were going to cancel on me. But they were friends of mine, and they said, "Let's go ahead and do it." So I ended up calling her over in France and say, "Hey, I've got people interested in coming. Would you create another trip?" And they said, "Well, you get 10 people and we'll do it." So that was in July of 2017. And by December of 17, I had 11 people signed up for the first group in 2018.
Wow.
And that was the only time they could fit it in 2018. Well, by May of 2018, even before we left to go on that 2018 trip, I had a first group for 2019 already booked. By the time we left in 2018 to go to Normandy, I had a second group already booked. And 2 weeks after we got back, I had a third group. Now we're talking 10 to 12 people each time.
Wow.
And so it just started growing from there. Of course, COVID hit in 20 and 21, but it just ramped right back up in 22. And as of 6 weeks ago, I've taken 16 groups over there to Normandy. A little over
how many
100.
trips do you do a year now?
I'll do minimum of 2.
Okay.
Depending on the interest level and how many people want to come,
Yeah.
I can do more than that. But We used to do them in a block of either 2 weeks or 4 weeks at a time. Now I've split them up, so we do 1 week in early summer, 1 week in September, kind of break it up a little bit, especially for people who have children that go to school.
Right. And so what can people expect when they go over there?
History, a ton of it. There's so much to see about the invasion of Normandy during D-Day. There's 5 beaches, there's hundreds of battle sites, there's monuments, there's museums, there's food.
Oh, yeah.
There's all kinds of good things. We stay right in the middle of the invasion area in a little town called Bayou, and that's where we kind of make our headquarters, and we're within 15, 20 minutes of any place we need to go. But it's a full 7 days, literally, from the day we leave Paris on Sunday till the time we get back to Paris the following Saturday. They're going to see over 40 different sites during those 7 days. And I warn people, get your rest before you go, because I'm going to wear you out.
And I hear from people that have gone that said the trip was incredible, the food was incredible, but it is very emotional.
Very.
Seeing that party history and everything that people don't really think about.
And probably the most emotional area that you'll experience is the Normandy American Cemetery, where 9,389 soldiers and nurses are buried there. And just walking through those crosses and those headstones, the gravity of the number of sacrifices given so we have the freedom today is just mind-blowing.
Right.
And we don't just visit the American cemetery there in Normandy, we also visit a Canadian cemetery, which is very seldom even visited by people. A lot of people don't even realize it's there. And we also visit a British cemetery there in Bayou, where it's just amazing how beautiful these cemeteries are taken care of.
That is incredible. So when you're not doing trips and you're not doing photography, what do you do in your free time? What do you enjoy doing, Dwayne?
Read. I love reading about D-Day in particular. In fact, I've got over 140 books in my library that mostly developed to the subject of D-Day.
Right.
And every time I pick up a book, I learn something new about it every time. The more I know about the D-Day area, the more I can relay on to people who come with us.
Yeah.
And it's in leading up to the trips, I enroll all the people coming on a trip in what we call the Overlord Adventures Academy.
Okay.
And basically what that is it's going to be an online barrage of emails that I'm going to be sending them for the next 8, 10, 12 months about D-Day, because I feel the more they know about what they're going to see and do, the better they will enjoy it once they get there. And right now we're up to about 200 emails, the subjects. So.
Wow, that's incredible. And so did you grow up in Arlington?
No, my dad, like I said, was in the Army Air Corps, and which morphed into the Air Force. So I was born in Fort Worth at Carswell Air Force Base.
Wow.
And then from there moved to Limestone, Maine, back to Austin, Texas, over to the Azores, and back to Abilene, Texas, while he was in the Air Force. And he retired in 1965. That's when we moved here, because I had a sister going to, at that time, Arlington State College, now RUTA. And he loved the area and he wanted to move back here, and so that's where we moved.
What would you say is the best thing about living in Arlington and doing business here?
It's a small town feel with enough of the large town community that you don't have to go to the other towns around or cities around us to get what you want.
Right.
It's fully inclusive of everything, everything you can possibly need, plus just the friendliness of everything. And it's safe.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people will give Arlington a bad name right now. Tell me about Rotary and your involvement with that.
Well, I became a charter member of our Arlington Sunrise Rotary Club back in 1987 when it was formed. I was one of 53 gentlemen that joined. That was, at the time, women were not allowed in Rotary at that time, which has since changed.
They were involved. They should have been in the kitchen.
No, I'm not going to go there. No, but they were, the wives and all were called Rotarians.
Oh, okay.
They were kind of like the allies for the Veterans Business Council. They were the supporters of the Rotarians.
Right.
And anyway, it's this community service organization that helps not only locally but globally as well. We have projects all over the world. Rotary International does. And it's more about helping people. Service above self is our mantra.
And if anybody wanted to find out about going to Normandy and doing the trip, where would they find that information?
There's several different ways, but go to overlordadventures.net.
Okay.
Don't do .com. .com might take you to a Chinese porn site. But
And that won't get you your trip your way.
no, not that trip. Anyway, overlordadventures.net, and you'll find probably 95% of what you need to know on that website.
Okay.
And of course, they can also call me 817-300-4477, or they can email me at overlordadventures@att.net.
I hope you enjoyed our visit today with Dwayne Lee. He gave us some useful information about Normandy. If you want to take that trip, he gave you the spot where you can look it up. I've had a lot of great people tell me good reviews about the trip, where they enjoyed it, learned a lot more stuff. So stay tuned to Talk for 10. Make sure you like, subscribe, and get those notifications.